issues, we'll be taking a look at human rights, and we'll be joined by Basiru Ba from the National Human Rights Commission, and we will talk fashion as well. Fashion Week Gambia is coming up, and we'll have a representative from Fashion Week Gambia to tell us what they have in store. I'm aware they're celebrating 10 years of Fashion Week Gambia, so I'm sure they have exciting updates for us here, Aliu. So what is our African proverb?
Well, thank you very much, Jennifer. Our African proverb for today says, maize bears fruits once and dies because it is not rooted into the ground. What this actually means is you will never get to the top and stay prosperous without a good foundation. Yeah. Quite interesting proverb, Mr. Ade.
It really is, and I think you've explained it beautifully.
Yeah.
You know, a good foundation is needed actually for something to be sustainable, and that's something we don't see a lot of. You know, something comes and it's very bright and beautiful and whatever, but there's nothing underneath. There's nothing to hold it or anchor it, and then it dies. So yeah, beautifully explained.
Yeah, yesterday we had a discussion when it comes to solving things, bottom-top approach. I don't know if this can be used to further strengthen that. You felt like
we were talking about human rights in this country,
exactly.
and the need to start from the schools where you will inculcate some of these
and then you grow up with it.
You know, for them to grow up with it.
Yes, I even sometimes use the phrase indoctrinate. Because if children grow up and this is what they learn from the earliest, then that is, you know, will inform the type of adults that they turn out to be. And that will, of course, then, you know, improve the society. So yes, I'm very much somebody who believes in that, that sort of, as you say, bottom-up approach. And just start young, and you know, give them good habits when they're young, and they will grow up with those good habits.
Yeah, I think this also has to do with trying to come up with lasting solutions, whereby sometimes when something happens, you do not actually want to look at the bottom to see where the problem is and just try to solve it. But they just want to rush and just show people visibly this is the nice thing. The last time I gave Africa's health sector as an example, where we do not want to start from the bottom. We just want to make it look nice, and it's visible to the people, and the people think it's okay when it's not even halfway okay.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest mistakes that is made by organizations, by NGOs, by you name it, even by charities sometimes. You know, they come and they have a grand plan about something that they want to deliver. Well, guess what? Speak to the people that you're meant to be delivering it to. Is it what they want? They might want something else, completely different, and you might have to change your approach, you know. But if you come and say, we've got this fantastic thing and it's good for you, big problems will rear their head in the future, because you've not done the essentials, which is, can I ask you what you want?
Yes.
What you need? Yeah. That's where you should start.
And also the fact of just organizations organizing events and just targeting a group of people. For example, let's say they're targeting old people, and you look around, you don't see an old individual, and they are the foundation. You're supposed to ask them the necessary questions to be able to achieve either it's a strategic plan or whatever that you're trying to achieve, to be able to. And I think Africa, I'm not sure outside of the Gambia, because I've not lived there, but for you, do you think this is the case outside, whereby when things are specifically targeting a group of people to make a change or change any narrative that exists, they're not targeting the right people?
It's human nature. You know, people sit down in rooms and in boardrooms, and they come up with what they think is a brilliant idea. And the one missing ingredient is around the world. It's not just in the Gambia, it's not just in Africa. And, so, and that's why this WISE conference that was in Doha, in Qatar the other day, I like the fact that a huge chunk of it was given over to youths. It's about education, about improving innovative you know, solutions for education, and they had massive input from youth, and that was great to see, because these are the people that you're targeting, and you're asking them, you know, what do you want, how do you want your education delivered? So it was brilliant.
Aliu, Mr. Ade is the one that mentioned youth. I am told that whenever I sit here, all I talk about is youth and women. But I did not mention it this time. It's from him.
I mention it because, believe it or not, I was a youth once.
Exactly, and you know how it feels and all of that.
I know how it feels to be ignored and looked overlooked when people think they're delivering something on your behalf. And it's something I try not to forget. Whenever I'm dealing with anybody, you know, I always try and get, you know, what is it they want, what is it they need. And for the youth, you hear politicians saying we've got solutions for the youth. You hear conferences, seminars. And you look around, as you said, it could be about old women or old people, whatever. No old people.
Yeah.
Same for youth. They talk about youth, and they're absent from from the discussion.
Yeah.
So, you know, how relevant is it going to be?
Yeah, and Aliu, this also has to do with getting a job or building your career when it comes to foundation.
It's important.
You know, you've been into journalism for how many years now?
I think 15 years now.
15 years now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm less than 5 years. Okay, now I'm feeling left out.
Don't ask me.
Okay, I won't go there.
Decades,
I won't go there, right?
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm 100% sure that within that period, you had to build your foundation to be able to be here. You know, it's a process. And, you know, talent does exist sometimes when it comes to these professions. But at the end of the day, to build the potential, it's like a process to be able to get there. So how was that journey really?
It wasn't easy like any other person who will venture into journalism. I remember when I started 15 years ago, back then at the Observer, we were at Bakau, where I had some senior colleagues there, the likes of Ibrahim Jaumani, Lilamin Deba, Kemo Cham, and others. It wasn't easy at the beginning. It was quite challenging. And then anytime when you talk, you know, someone like Jaumani will tell you, you know what? We are trying to set you right. We want you to have the right fit in this profession.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't easy. Sometimes, you know, you have to work until late at night before you get home and all that. But then for me, they were just trying to, you know, build a strong foundation for us so that we can go into this profession prepared and be able to deliver. And that's why, because of that, I mean, there's nothing new that you know, you can bring to the newsroom that I might say, oh, I don't think this is possible. The same belief that Mr. Hada has, you know, he will always tell you, know, this is possible, this is possible.
Yeah.
But then coming back to the same topic about the issue of good foundation, for most of us, Mr. Ade, most of us young people, we always want to get the shortcut and then just get to the top without going through the right channel. What advice do you have for some of us in terms of trying to have that good foundation and not just to try to get a shortcut? Just want it to be top overnight without going through the right procedure.
I always say to people, look at the people you admire, look at how they got to the top. Because sometimes you see somebody and because you don't know their journey, you think that yesterday they were doing nothing and then today they're at the top. When if you went and you interrogated or you investigated the journey to the top, you find out actually hard work, sweat and so on. There are no shortcuts. I mean, people come to us every day, including today. Somebody contacted me and said, I want to work at QTV. They sent an email. And I always ask them the same question, why is it you want to work at QTV? And unfortunately, he wrote back saying he wants to be famous.
Yeah, the famous part.
And you know, even if that was I was thinking, I wouldn't say it. You know, yet for somebody to say it to me, and I said, well, that's the wrong approach.
And you know, Mr. Ade, what's funny, I did this mini tutorial on my YouTube just talking about how to become a media personality. And I gave them a heads up that being in the media or being a media personality does not mean you will be famous. This is just an amount of people who are going to be on the top.
That's right.
Like, it's just an established fact. It's not anything. But it doesn't mean if you're doing it, your name is going to be out there. It takes a process and it takes something for people to mention you.
You need to go through the process.
Exactly.
And you know, to directly answer Aliu's question, you know.
So I'm afraid due to time, we might have to move. It seems that our African proverb today, Aliu,
has
is very
generated.
Yes, and we do not want some people to beat us up without being able to finish all this. So we'll head right on to the newspaper review now. I believe that's the Standard.
Yes, on the Standard, I'm seeing another headline here which says UDP to petition election results today. We saw a headline yesterday which says it was going to be yesterday, but I'm seeing another one.
Yes,
this one
is the party came out and said it was false. And I think even Reuters, the esteemed international news agency had gone with a story saying that they were going to petition yesterday. I think they've got the whole country on tenterhooks because everybody's waiting to see what the petition is going to be about. You know, what is it they're challenging exactly? Of the 8 or 9 both national and international agencies that overlooked the elections, they all gave it a clean bill of health. They all said it was free and it was fair. So it's going to be quite intriguing to see what it is they're challenging about the results. Of course, they might not challenge anything, but they've not, at least they've not come out and accepted the results yet. But so yes, I think, and also time is running out for them legally to challenge it. So it will be interesting to see.
It's very funny because we all had the same belief during the registration process when the revising courts were on, and eventually everyone was expecting that there will be a lot of, you know, people not exactly, and suddenly I heard there's no submission. Yeah. So I just hope it's not going to be the same thing.
I mean, we wait and see. You know, they've got several esteemed lawyers who are at the sort of top echelons of the party. And so maybe they're just, you know, sort of taking their time and so on. But you're right. When we talked about the revising courts, in the office, I heard all these people saying, well, you know, my next door neighbor, he's a Sierra Leonean and he's registered.
Exactly.
Somebody's going to challenge it. The courts stayed open. Not a single case was brought. Yeah. And so people like to build up these myths about, you know, things are going to be challenged. And so this one, but as I said, you know, the discussion around, you know, whether the UDP or anybody else is going to petition is that people are thinking, on what grounds?
Yeah, on what basis?
And so we wait and see. Maybe they have good grounds, but we wait and see.
So, Ali, do we go over all the headlines and then come up with the discussion?
Yes, I think we're running out of time. We can just look at the stories as we moved on.
Oh, okay. But just to read it up, just some of the headlines you have.
Exactly.
And then
we're also having JDC is also looking at the results with possibility of also filing a petition at the court, separately from that of the UDP. And we have Ambassador Jami awarded for excellence in public office. Road accidents account for over 1 million deaths globally, something that is very concerned for Mr. Ade, road accidents and all that. Yeah. And we have China. China congratulates President Barrow on his election victory, and Ecowas ought to be tough on presidential term limits. That's what we are having on the...
All right, so moving on Foria, we have UDP returns confiscated equipment except memory card of a photojournalist. And here we have police open investigation into alleged beating of Gambian rapper by PIU officers, and also 80-year-old woman reported missing. Gambia on threshold of registering 10,000 COVID-19 cases. And on a special report, we have medical and health services cooperative credit union saves over $28 million in 2020. I saw this on QTV yesterday. And Ecowas summit loses focus. And has any political party or independent candidate filed petition against the 2021 results? Question. So, Aliu, I think the ECOWAS summit loses focus. Yesterday on QTV, I saw you interview President Adama Barrow in relation to the outcomes of the summit there. And now on this editorial, it's saying that the ECOWAS summit loses focus, citing that some of the topics that should have been discussed has to do with the crisis in Guinea and Mali. Also, the fact that we have a growing youth population in West Africa, and that should have been the concentration. And that, at some point in time, ECOWAS came to a point where it was free from coup d'etats. So to them, this should have been the focus, not what was discussed at the summit. What was your take on that?
I always feel sorry for colleagues in ECOWAS because really you could list 100 things that are priorities, everything from climate change to youth unemployment to you know, piracy on the seas. And whatever they chose, somebody would say, why didn't they discuss this instead? So for me, it's not that they lose focus, it's just that there are so many pressing things that need to be discussed. You have to, some will end up not being discussed, and somebody will say, well, that's a priority, why didn't you discuss it? So it's a difficult one for them. Yeah,
but Mr. Ade, I think one that should have been a priority, Ali, you engaged them, probably you'll be able to say if this really was on the top of the agenda. For me, the Glasgow Climate Conference has just happened. So that should have been a discussion, because considering the fact that ECOWAS countries carry the burden of the consequences when it comes to climate, should have been by any means part of the agenda.
It should have been, but if you, I think what ECOWAS are doing, they're kind of abdicating responsibility, because UNDP and others have been doing this Sahel offer, where they're trying to say that, you know, this Sahel zone, which is in danger. I mean, I saw this figure, and I must check it. I think they said in the next 10 years they want to plant 3 billion trees in the region. And so others are taking up that sort of challenge of addressing you know, climate change. And maybe they thought, well, you know, we could talk about it and it could just be talk because others are doing it. And of course, many of the countries in the Sahel region are in ECOWAS already. So they're already engaged in that. So perhaps that's part of why something like that. But I agree with you. It's topical. They should at least have had it on the agenda.
Exactly, just highlight it.
But it was such a big conference, international conference. People were there, heads of state and so on. And yet barely got a mention.
Exactly. It should have. It should have been mentioned.
And so for me, that was a big omission. Yeah.
Yes. So moving on, Ali, what's on the standard?
Yes, still on the standard, we've said road accidents account for over 1 million deaths globally. Still a concern, Mr. Ade?
A big concern, and I tell you this, and this is not a joke. I'm actually in the process of writing to the president to say, if you want to be remembered, part of your legacy should be getting Gambia out of the world's top 10 for road accidents.
Yeah.
When he took office, Gambia was number 8. Now Gambia is number 4 in the world. He does not want to be in office when Gambia becomes number one in the world. And really the only way to do that is to get serious. All these rubbish cars that are on the road that are death traps just waiting to happen need to be taken off the road. And we need to get serious about it, because it, you know, I get emotional about this, because when you look at the loss of lives and so on, and in that article he's talking about all these young people who lose their lives. It's on a daily basis. It's on a daily basis. And why? You know, because people disobey the rules. And again, I always talk about this. I was driving home last night. The number of cars that passed me and had no lights at 10 o'clock at night is scandalous. You know, and you know, if you're a careless driver, that's an accident that's waiting to happen. Needs to get serious about it.
And I think the problem when it comes to this road accident, with the number of people that have engaged about it, nobody seems to want to take responsibility. When you talk to this particular department of the government, they will tell you, oh, this is a collaborative effort. There's also another organization we're supposed to collaborate with. So I don't understand what's happening.
Look, it's in every country where they have addressed this and dealt with it, it is a collaborative effort, because really us, the public, we have a duty as drivers, as passengers. If my driver is driving too fast, I need to tell him or her, you're driving too fast, slow down. We all have, it's not just, oh, it's in the hands of government, but you know, there are rules and regulations that government needs to implement and enforce. They're there already, they're just not being enforced. And so, you know, that's where, you know, I would throw it back to them and say, you know, you need to be doing your job. If you care about your people, save their lives. You know,
so one of those organizations who is supposed to collaborate with the other ones, one person should just take up the responsibility and the others will follow suit.
Yeah, we had, you know, we have Road Safety Week, and I was asked to even chair a discussion on QTV, and I declined because I said I would get too emotional about it.
Exactly.
Because it's something that, you know, particularly bothers me, because it's unnecessary.
It is.
You know, the loss of life should not be happening. And you know, I don't get a sense that we're angry enough about it to do something about it, and we need to start getting angry about it. You know, we need to be protesting, we need to be shouting,
and
screaming.
There's no protest. And for me, the amount of young people who have lost their lives, people who really could have contributed so much to,
you know, I won't name names, but you guys remember when you went to an event and you came back and within.
So moving on, this was on QTV News actually yesterday, and it's a special report on Foria, which is Medical and Health Services Cooperative Credit Union saves over $28 million in 2020. So I don't know, Gambians, do we really value cooperative credit unions?
We do. We have a number of them, and all of them seem to be doing really well. They seem to be very well organized. They're very well audited. They scrutinize their books, and they report to their members. And even at this meeting, what you had before anything was mentioned, members were invited to scrutinize the books and comment. And that's, you know, that kind of transparency is why. But so yes, I think they've been embraced by the Gambian public.
Especially the teachers credit union. I had a conversation with my grandma, and she told me how really the credit union has supported a lot of people working there to secure lands, cars, and just things they can't buy with their own salary.
I said, you know, they are doing what they should be doing, which is working for the benefit of their members.
Sure. Ali, any other thing on there?
Congratulations, President Barrow, on his election victory.
China
has been our...
one of the latest. President Putin has as well.
Exactly.
The day before yesterday, he also sent a congratulatory message. I mean, they've been coming from all over the world. And of course, at Ecowas, as our colleague Aliu reported yesterday, they congratulated President Barrow. And been coming in. all over. And yes, of course, China, great partner and friend to the Gambia, so it's no surprise.
Someone might be asking, well, why is it so important having such messages from big development allies like China and Russia?
I think it's kind
what
of
makes
saying,
it more important?
yeah, it's important because I think it sends a message that, you've been a good partner to us.
Yeah.
We like how the relationship has developed.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
Like the president said, the interview yesterday, I listened to him, he said, our diplomacy is working.
Yeah. Well, this is it.
He said that.
Yeah. This is it.
He said that yesterday.
He said our democracy and our diplomacy. And he was right. He's absolutely right. And that's evidence of that. Yes. Yeah.
I think he was responding to the appointment of Dr. Omar Toure.
That's right. That's correct.
As the president of the Ecowas Commission. Yes. And finally, we've seen the head of the Ecowas Election Observer Mission to the Gambia, Ernest Bai Kuruma, is urging, calling for a term limit, and asking ECOWAS to.
When I read that, I smiled because when he was president in Sierra Leone, they have term limits. Yeah. When he was president, they tried to amend the constitution so that he could have a third term. So it's quite ironic that he should be one of the ones saying this, really, because it caused a huge controversy in his party. Yeah. And in fact, even in his own party, he's been made chairman for life, which is not very democratic. Yeah. So it's coming from him. That's quite ironic.
SLPP?
No, he's APC.
You know what's funny? When they're there, when they're elected and they're there, it seems they don't just see or understand anything.
It's a different world altogether.
It's just a different world for them.
They had in Sierra Leone this saying, after you, na you. So, after him is him, when he'd already done 2 terms.
I know.
And they say, no, not, go work that way.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adid Rami, for joining us on the newspaper review. It's always good to have you here.
Always good to be here.
Yes, I think the African Proverb ate some of the time for the
a lot of our time,
but it was
worth it.
Yeah, it was really worth it. Yeah. So moving on Community Watch, we'll be taking a look at the Gambia Red Cross Society COVID-19 response, and we'll be joined by Ibrahima S. Jabi, Public Health Officer, the Gambia Red Cross Society. So we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we will take a look at the Gambia Red Cross Society COVID-19 response.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522 222 353 2222.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower, and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am QPower. I am QCell. I am Sunibus. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. I'm your host, Jennifer Sonko, joined by my co-host, Aliu Cisse. So, Aliu, one-stop water solution. Yo, what nga doxantu fofu de?
Man daal moom. No naa fa dem nag.
Yow yaay Aliou Cissé yow waruloo naan ndox boo xam ne amut yu ndox bu tilim waruloo koo naan. So for all your water filters, for all your dispensers, or just anything that you need that has to do with improving the quality of your water, please stop by One Stop Water Solution right there at the Sukuta Highway, or you can just window shop, and you never know, you might see something that you might need at home. So please go and visit them. They are part of our partners, especially if you love this morning. And Aliu, special thanks also goes to all of our followers on social media, those of you following us from YouTube and Facebook. We see you, keep watching. We love you. So thank you so much for joining us, Ibrahim S. Jabi from the Gambia Red Cross Society Public Health Officer. So today we'll be talking about generally the Gambia Red Cross Society COVID-19 response. I've seen members of the Gambia Red Cross Society in different interviews talking about how they've been able to swiftly respond when it comes to the COVID-19 pandemic. So how have you been able to achieve that?
Yes, thank you so much, Geneva. But one stop water stop, they will give you something.
Oh, they should.
They will give you something,
okay,
because you are a good marketer. Oh, they take you the maker. So thank you so much for that question. And for COVID-19 is a serious issue because it is affecting the whole world, not only Gambia. So back in the days, in 2006, 2007, upward near 2016, we were talking about Ebola in Guinea-Conakry and in West Africa. That is only West Africa. But COVID-19 is the whole world. So for that being the case, Gambia Red Cross Society, since we heard that COVID-19 is in China, we start preparing our ground. So this is why we were able to combat it. Okay, a war that you prepared for, you always win that battle. So this is why it was very easy with us to control COVID-19 in the Gambia. First, we start with the situation analysis today. COVID-19 today, we are around new cases, 4 new cases. That was day before yesterday. But some 5 days ago, it was 34 new cases, which is serious. Okay. And COVID-19, as you know, it is something that mutates. It's a virus that mutates. Mutates means it can change format from one. This is why we are always saying new variant, new variant, new variant, because it always changes format. So currently, a variant that is affecting around the UK and other countries, if you follow a Ministry of Health, you will see a list of countries that are being banned to come to Gambia for these days. Yeah, because they have that Omicron variant, which is also very, very highly contagious. Highly contagious means can easily transfer from one person to another. But for Gambia Red Cross Society, as I mentioned earlier, since we hear about COVID-19 in China, we start sensitizing our own population here. So we start going to the radios, going to the communities, talking to people, telling them that there is new disease that is coming, is in China, it may reach us anytime, whilst it will not pay any flight ticket. So that's it, because people carry it. So people who are moving from those countries to Gambia, they can easily bring it. So this is why we are doing those sensitization. So since we hear also that Africa recorded 1 case in Misra, Egypt. In Egypt, then we also said, oh, now it's in Africa. Yeah. We should do something there. So there we start training our volunteers to go to border posts. So public health officers are at the borders. So in those border entry points, including airport and the other land entry points. So we send our volunteers that they'll be sitting at the borders, helping the public health officers who are there, because each border point normally is 1 or 2 public health officers, and the number of people who are entering is always too much. So Gambia, sometimes people will board flight from UK, land in Senegal, or land in Guinea-Bissau, then use the road to come to the Gambia. Okay. So there, we send them to the border to check their temperatures and also help the public health officers who are there. We call it surveillance. So that is the surveillance system. So from surveillance system, then we realized that Gambia also recorded 1 case. Then we changed our operational mode to hand washing facilities. So we know COVID-19 is a disease that can transfer through droplet. And that droplet, you can contract it with your hand. So your hand will touch your mouth, your nose, then you contract the disease. So this is why we went in for hand washing facilities. We started with the ferry terminals, the borders, and all other public places. Then we move on with that one. So moving on, and realize that anyway, the COVID-19 situation in the Gambia is escalating and is getting more serious. Then we move to fumigation. Fumigation meaning we spray spaces of public places in the vehicles and marketplaces. We go out and spray all the environment because we realize that those are the steps the other countries are doing in order to control it. So therefore,
so Mr. Jabe, I think it is important that we also focus on lessons learned.
Yes.
You know, as Gambia Red Cross Society, exactly.
Yes.
Because now I'm not saying the COVID-19 pandemic is over. It's not even close to being over, like you said. These viruses get to mutate. But it's also important that we know, you know, what are the lessons learned? What are some of the things that we should improve on going forward? We might get a worse pandemic. We never know. The trend the world is taking now, we never know what else can happen. So what are some of the lessons?
Some of the things that we can do right now is, you know, we have some people among us who don't even believe that COVID-19 is real. So the sensitization have to continue, and the wearing of face masks have to continue. If you look at this environment here, it's only one person, in fact, who is wearing face masks.
And that's you.
Obviously. so we are so relaxed. And the virus, they are our enemies. And they want to, maybe we don't even know, they want to eliminate the human race. So they just want to kill every human being because human beings are so intelligent. They manufacture so many things. So we don't know whether that's their plan. So therefore, we need to fight. So how are we going to fight to prevent ourselves? So this prevention have to continue all time. Rigorous hand washing, the use of sanitizers, the use of face masks, and avoid, you know, social gatherings, too much social gathering, because, you know, it's a virus that transfers from one person to another. So if you enter in a crowd, you don't know whether that person is going to sneeze or cough on you. So anything can happen. So
but Mr. Jabe, specifically, when it comes to this question, I'm really trying to understand some of the activities and the approaches that the Gambia Red Cross Society has used. What are the areas that really went wrong, whereby you could have just done it in another way and just have a better response process?
That's our policies. Our policies should be strengthened. You know, before we were saying, okay, Gambia has, you know, send something, a message, whereby nobody should gather in a public place, in a burial, no more than 10 people, in our naming ceremonies, not more than 10 people. So all those restrictions are relaxed now. You know, the government don't lift them, but they are relaxed and nobody is implementing it. So we need to strengthen that one very well. So if we strengthen it, then we will go back to our normal situation to control COVID-19 spread, because it's coming. So we always know that, hence, since it started in Europe and other countries, then obviously it has to reach in the Gambia also, because we are not doing anything. And those people are doing more precautionary measures than us. You know, there's the restrictions, so avoidance of social gatherings, parties, nightclubs, and so on. Still, those countries, they are enforcing them very well. But Gambia, we don't even care about something is going on. So this is why it's going to affect us very well.
Well, you talk about wearing masks. Well, I can assure you that all of us are vaccinated.
We are fully vaccinated.
We are fully vaccinated, and because of this distance, we don't wear masks. But we fully respect the preventive measures as far as the COVID-19 is concerned.
In fact, Q Group Foundation had a whole vaccination campaign.
I mean, all of us are fully vaccinated. All of us are vaccinated, actually. So I can assure you that. But now, looking at the response, how is the collaboration between you and your partners? Because, I mean, one party cannot do all as far as the response is concerned.
Obviously, that is very important. Our partners, one key partners with us is Ministry of Health. You know, Ministry of Health is our line ministry. So therefore, we cannot work at the absence of Ministry of Health. So Ministry of Health is doing well. So they are doing their bit at the treatment site, at the hospitals and the health facilities. All regions have treatment facilities. So, but the side of sensitization, public awareness, to boost the vaccine intake and to continue implementing precautionary measures, they are doing great, but you know, it's limited. So those are the areas that we always join with them to make sure the population is fully aware. You know, despite people know it, we still have to go out and talk to them for them to understand more. So vaccine intake is still very low. You know, although we believe, yes, vaccination is good, but still is very low. So at that area, we are doing very well.
Why do you think it is low?
Yeah, is that low awareness? People are adamant to change. They don't want to change.
But who in this country is aware of COVID-19?
Yes.
But there's still some who are in denial.
Yes. So they will say, yeah, we believe in COVID-19, but we don't believe in like the injection can prevent us. So those are the misconceptions many people are having. We don't believe that the vaccines can prevent us from this.
But so now, what do you think should be done to be able to convince them to accept this vaccine?
Yeah, that one we have to continue talking to them. Because human being, you can only change him by talking to him and also impose certain rules and regulations. Whereby at the workplace,
I remember Afrobarometer conducting a survey on COVID-19 where majority of the people believe in prayer.
Yes.
Yes, majority of the people
so they believe in prayer
than in the vaccination.
Yeah, so Gambia is not exception. But also workplaces, you know, every institution can say, okay, if you are not vaccinated, you will not enter our workplace. So if we do those things, it's happening in a lot of
some countries are
but also activists are saying,
especially government institutions,
you know, it's a two-way thing where activists are also saying it's a violation to force people to take vaccine.
Yeah, but that one is easy to control. When two risks involved, you go for the lesser one. So if it is violation, but going to kill yourself is also violation because you don't create that soul.
In a way. Okay. But just quickly, Mr. Jabi, before you leave, windstorms. Let's talk about how the COVID-19 pandemic, not just windstorm, but all forms of disasters. Let's take a look at how the COVID-19 pandemic affected your response to disasters within these past 2 years.
Yeah, especially this 2021.
Exactly.
Windstorm disaster really affect our operation in COVID-19. COVID-19, we always talk about restriction, hand washing, clean water. So this windstorm destruction come in and destroy everything, including shelter, you know, water supply system and all. So that really take us a great deal. It really affects us. So therefore, you know, if we can prevent those disasters also, we'll be very, because it's two pandemics together. Disaster is a pandemic, and COVID-19 also a disaster pandemic. So therefore, now
having to deal with the two side by side must have been difficult.
It's always difficult, very difficult.
But thumbs up to the Gambia Red Cross Society. At the end of the day, you were able to also respond to disaster victims at the end of the day. Yeah, so thank you so much, Ibrahima S. Jabi, Public Health Officer at the Gambia Red Cross Society, on that update when it comes to the Gambia Red Cross Society's COVID-19 response. Thank you so much for joining us.
Next time we increase the time.
We increase the time, no problem. Next time we increase the time. So viewers, we'll go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Basiru Ba, Legal Officer Research at the National Human Rights Commission. And on the 10th, just on the 10th, we were all commemorating International Human Rights Day, and today hopefully we'll be able to have an extensive discussion when it comes to fundamental human rights. Do stay tuned.
For the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, Q Money and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your Q Money account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any Q Money agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, Q Power, and other Q Money services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
I am the light goddess. Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q Power. I am QCell. I am Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning, and I'm here with my co-host, Alou Cisse. It has been amazing already. Thank you so much to Ibrahima S. Jabe, Public Health Officer at the Gambia Red Cross Society, for that brilliant update when it comes to the Gambia Red Cross Society's COVID-19 response. Now we're heading right on to human rights. We'll be talking about the fundamentals of human rights, and we're joined by Basiru Ba, legal officer at the National Human Rights Commission. So just to lay the foundation before we just get into the topic proper when it comes to the fundamentals of human rights, let's just talk about the mandate of the National Human Rights Commission. It is important because, I mean, Gambians are still yet to really understand what your role is, because I can remember there's a press conference that I attended where even the public were coming up with complaints that really was not under the jurisdiction of the National Human Rights Commission. So what is your role generally?
Very well. Thank you very much, Jainaba, and it's a pleasure to be here, and good morning to all our listeners. The National Human Rights Commission, I can just describe it as a game changer when it comes to human rights protection in the Gambia. But as you rightly mentioned, there is still some confusion around the mandate of the Commission, since we have had a series of commissions since 2017 after the change of government. So the National Human Rights Commission, unlike the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the Jane Commission and all other commissions, this is an institute which is established by an Act of Parliament, which is a permanent body mandated for the promotion and protection of human rights in the Gambia. Which means that if you have a complaint or someone violates your rights, instead of going to court, you have the option of going and lodging a complaint at the National Human Rights Commission. And the Commission has the jurisdiction to hear your complaint and then make a determination and recommendation to government for redress on your behalf. If, say, they make any recommendation and there is no action from the government, they can follow up, and they can also take legal action for you to have a remedial action against whoever is responsible, be it government or a private individual. So basically, the mandate of the Commission is the promotion and protection of human rights.
Okay.
Let's now look at the structure. How is it structured?
Very well. The Commission itself, the Secretariat is in Kotu, and it is headed by an Executive Secretary. But that aside, we have commissioners and a chairperson who is the head of the entire Human Rights Commission, who is aided by 4 more commissioners, and some of whom are female. The vice chairperson is a female. And in addition to the chairperson, we have the 4 commissioners who are responsible for determination and hearing of cases and making decisions on behalf of the commission. But the commissioners aside, we have a fully fledged office which covers departments such as the Legal and Investigation Department, which is responsible for receiving the complaints and going to the field and making inquiries about a particular complaint and giving their opinions and observations, and also advice to the commissioners, who will take it up, and where it is necessary, they can call the victim and the perpetrators if necessary, hear from both sides before making a determination. And subsequently, they will come up with a recommendation to government and to the entity. If it is, for example, the Gambia Police Force, they will write to the IGP and give their recommendations. So basically, that is the setup of the commission. But in addition to this Legal and Investigation Department, we have the Communications Department, we have the Human Resource Department and the likes. So it's a fully fledged functioning office, just like the other parastatals in government and institutions.
Yeah. So
you talk about you know, the commission being established by an Act of Parliament in 2017. From 2017 to date, what will you tell us is or are the major achievements of the Commission? Very
well. The Commission has done quite some important tasks in the Gambia, and that is why some people will consider us busybodies, because we are basically everywhere. Yeah. if you can remember, during the elections and during the campaigns, which is the more recent one, we've been there as observers. We take notes and we make recommendations as to how to improve in terms of accessibility to polls, in terms of access, in terms of enjoying your right to participate in the elections. We've made series of recommendations to political parties, to the government, and the IEC. But that aside, we've participated as mediators, for example, in the caste discrimination cases, which badly affected some of the Sarahule communities, if you can remember. And very recently, the Commission has in fact commissioned a fully fledged study to go and look into the caste system, because it includes some form of discrimination. And you know, where there is discrimination, there is a likelihood of violation of individual rights of different caste groups. So the Human Rights Commission was involved, and they've been to these Sarahule villages, and in fact they were able to restore order. But that aside, every year we prepare a comprehensive report on the Gambia in terms of enjoyment of human rights. We call it the annual Human Rights Report of the Gambia, which is available on the Commission's website. So since 2018, we publish on an annual basis on the issues that are, on the human rights violations that are happening around the country. On and we also include some recommendations to governments, to institutions in terms of how to further protect and promote human rights in the Gambia.
Yeah, I think I've interacted with some of their staff during the campaign in Bajakuna, whatever region. Some of your colleagues were there. And I understand you also present this annual report to the Select Committee at the National Assembly, chaired by the Speaker of the Parliament.
Very well. So it is important to mention that the Human Rights Commission is an independent entity. So we are not controlled by any state agent. The only thing or the only institution that has slight oversight over us is the National Assembly. So that is why
the Select Committee,
exactly,
chaired by the Speaker of the Parliament.
So that is why every year we present to them, and also we have interactive sessions with them, and we give each other advice, since we are both responsible somehow for the promotion and protection of human rights in the Gambia.
So, Mr. Buck, just quickly, the Gambia Federation of the Disabled, I just want to know your relationship, the relationship between the National Human Rights Commission and this particular organization. Because at the end of the day, their rights need to be protected more than anyone. So I just want to know the relationship that you have. If you've conducted or supported them in any way, please let us know.
Very well. I can say it's a complementary relationship that we have with the Federation, and also so many other CSOs in the Gambia. But particularly the Federation, we have helped in terms of providing advisory opinions and studies on the rights of the disabled. And even this election, just this past election and voter registration, we were instrumental in terms of recommending to the government to have in mind the persons with disabilities in terms of access to polling stations. So if you have observed, some of the polling stations and the polling booths are placed in places whereby you would either need a ramp or they will have to carry you if you are on a wheelchair to access. So in those regards, in terms of the protection of the rights of persons with disabilities, we have complemented their efforts, and we have always provided in our advisory notes for the government and institutions to always have in the back of their minds these persons with disabilities when they are constructing edifices, when they are publishing, because sometimes you can publish a hard paper document or soft copy document, but it cannot be accessed by all persons, especially persons with disabilities. So we complement their efforts in terms of promotion and protection of the rights of PWDs.
But Mr. Ba, I don't think sign language interpretation is something that the Human Rights Commission is really championing or stressing.
Very well. I mean, it's still a challenge, but if you can remember some of our press releases and some of the sessions that we have with the media, we endeavor to secure the services of persons who with sign language interpretation skills. And on a couple of occasions, we have had someone with sign language interpretation skills to interpret our press and media briefings during the sessions. But I have to admit, it's always a challenge to secure the services of these individuals, because they are limited in number in the Gambia, and sometimes you would have to struggle with other stakeholders for their services. Yeah, but we always have, in all our recommendations, we always recommend for various institutions to have the services of interpreters and sign language interpreters, so that accessibility and hearing will be across the board without distinction.
Okay, and again, looking at just human rights in the Gambia, I know this is something that it's just an established fact. You know, we just need to agree with the fact that it has improved from 2016 to date. You know, our judiciary is quite independent. People are able to express themselves in a way. But still, do you think there are some gaps that exist when it comes to human rights? Because I know it is not something that you can achieve at some point in totality.
Well.
There might be small gaps that you, as a Human Rights Commission, feel that should be adjusted. What are these?
Very well. We've identified so many gaps. I think the first one I'll start with is some of our outdated laws and repressive, if you like, repressive laws that are still in the system. Even though some of them are not used on daily basis, but their mere presence threatens the enjoyment of some of our fundamental rights, especially when it comes to suppression of opinion and information in the Gambia. So as far as we have some of these gaps, some of these laws that are outdated, for example, the Public Order Act of the Gambia, even though it was declared by the Supreme Court as in accordance with the Constitution, but a lot of criticism has come towards the Public Order Act and related penalty laws that are found in the Criminal Code. So for me, the biggest of the gaps is the presence of some of those laws and the outdated nature of some of our laws, because society progresses and changes, and the needs of individuals and society changes as society progresses and evolves. So that is why there is always a need to review our laws and bring them up to standard and in accordance with how society progresses. But also another major challenge is the enjoyment of equality of individuals before the law. You've mentioned the International Human Rights Day, which was celebrated 4 years ago on the 10th. And the theme for this year is equality of individuals generally. And that is why the National Human Rights Commission, in commemoration of the date, we organized a mood, and the finals were held on that very day. Yeah. Exactly. So if you look at equality and equity generally in the Gambia, you will find out that accessing information and protection of the law in the Gambia is not enjoyed on equal basis. If you go up country, you go to URR, you go to Sandu, you find out that the level of understanding and knowledge of the law in Sandu and other places is low, and the level of access to redress in Sandu and other places is low. Okay, the level of access even to the media is lower in Sandu compared to here. If you have a program on human rights in Sandu, you will struggle to take along journalists and the media people all the way to Sandu, and all these things touch on equality. And so long as we don't fight equality and reduce the inequities within our service providers and the system generally, we will continue to have problems in terms of violations of human rights. So just to, as an introduction, I would say those are the two major things that we need to fight in order to reduce some of the inequalities.
But you do agree that the environment currently is not bad?
It has improved.
Yeah.
It has improved a lot. And I must say we have also contributed to the improvement, and also the media has also contributed to the improvement. Yeah.
This is an independent body, but then do you have any plan in place in terms of resource mobilization, and of course, and also to implement, to effectively implement your plans?
Very well. We have an independent budget line that the National Assembly approves year to year. But in addition to that, we have a lot of resource mobilization, and we work with sponsors and partners such as the UNDP, the OHCHR, and because some of these institutions, they have their special lines of interest. So we, every time we will look at our work plan for the year, and we will look at activities which are in line with some of the activities of these development partners, and we seek funding from them from time to time, and they are very helpful in terms of implementation of some of the activities of the Human Rights Commission.
Like you said, I mean, you received complaints and investigate. Is there any sort of data management system?
Yes, we have a system in place, and it is accessible online, even on our website. You can access the software through which you can lodge your complaints, and there are officers on the ground who are the investigating officers. They are responsible for the management of this data that comes to us, both online and physically, as to persons who work through our doors and lodge complaints. Yes, we have a management system.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you're here, you know, telling us all of these things when it comes to the National Human Rights Commission, you know, trying to clear the perception about your mandate. Because I don't know if you know this, but in the Gambia here, there's a perception when it comes to commissions, the setting up of commissions. There's this perception towards it. So it seems Gambians are still building trust and confidence when it comes to associating themselves with commissions that exist. So I just want to know, you talked about the fact that your organization can provide legal assistance to Gambians when they have complaints. So what is the percentage, if there exists, when it comes to the people who have been helped in relation to getting support, legal support? And also, I want you to classify these people that have also benefited. I want to know, are these rape cases? What are these exactly? You know.
Very well. We've had a series of cases ranging from assault, ranging from police brutality, up to some people, because of the lack of understanding as to the extent of our mandate, even cases that fall outside the scope of our mandate are brought before us. But in those circumstances, we just refer the individual to the appropriate authority or ask them to go to court. But just to clarify from your question, we do not provide legal assistance as in representing someone in
No, I mean as in not representing, but just providing legal assistance as in advice and just lead them on to the necessary individual.
So I do not have the numbers percentage-wise, but I would believe the majority of cases have to deal with violations of the rights found in Section 19 of the Constitution, which has to do with liberty and security of the person, because most of the time it has to do with arrest and, you know, detentions and mistreatment vis-a-vis interactions with some of the police enforcement authorities. So these are the majority of the cases that we receive and deal with. And I must say that since we started giving recommendations to government and since we started interacting with the law enforcement agencies, we have seen improvements, and the police, the office of the IGP is usually forthcoming. For example, when we invite them for training and for discussions, or when we call them to visit their offices with regards to any particular matter or happening with citizens of the Gambia, usually they are welcoming, and we usually talk to them and give them advice on occasions. And
if I'm right, I guess there was a point you had developed a code of conduct for the police. I remember you validated that.
Very well. We did.
With the IGP. With the then IGP, Mahmoud Joe.
Exactly. Yeah, we did, and they've been using that code of conduct because every now and then you will hear them make reference to the code of conduct, and that is a very big improvement from what we used to have, because then they would operate anyhow, but now at least there is a document which they can refer to guide their actions and inactions. And we are always happy to remind them of our obligations, not only on the Chapter 4 of the 1997 Constitution, which basically sets up the basic rights that are to be enjoyed in the Gambia, but also our obligations as a state at the regional level, at the African Union level, and also at the United Nations level, because we have ratified series of conventions and documents which aim to protect and promote human rights on the continent. And
you know, Aliu,
just finally, before you wrap up, I just want to know, are there any plans to decentralize
very well
across the region?
Very well.
It seems like everything is
and you know, Aliu, that was part of the press conference that I attended a few months ago. You know, that was stressed. So it's important that you're asking the question just to see how far.
We are starting, but it's a bit slow. Our first office is going to be opened in January, God willing, and it's going to be at Basse. Initially, it will have to cover both.
Why Basse? This should have been in Yomi. Excuse me. This should have been in Esew.
Jara is central.
No, you see, the issue is if you are from Badibo, if you are from Jara, you can travel to Banjul. But if you are from Basse, it's extremely far. So we are starting from the farthest region and then coming gradually.
It's a good strategy.
So hopefully
and Aliu, it is very good to know that the National Human Rights Commission as well has been trying to develop this harassment in workplaces.
Yes.
You know, I engaged one of your officers there, and she said because harassment harassment in workplaces, you know, it's not taken seriously in the Gambia, and it is happening. So since you developed that conduct, I just hope people have been coming to report.
Yes, we have not received a lot of complaints, and that is one of the problems that we have in the Gambia. We usually have a lot of very interesting and protective documents in place, but the people are not forthcoming
to report.
If your right is violated or if you are harassed sexually at the workplace, sometimes you tend to shy away from coming forth to the authorities. In fact, that policy is not only a study, but we went ahead and developed the policy, and the policy is already in force. So
thank you so much, Mr. Bass. So if you're working in any office and you feel you are harassed, you can simply walk to the National Human Rights Commission and lodge your complaint. And harassment is not only about touching, it also has to do with what the person tells you, how you dress, body shaming you, and all of that. So I'm so happy that the National Human Rights Commission has set this up just to make sure that we are safe in the respective workplaces. I don't know why men around me are smiling. I can't figure that out. But anyway, thank you so much, Mr. Basiruba, for joining us here from the National Human Rights Commission. Looking forward to another engagement. And looking forward as well to visiting that office in Basse, just trying to decentralize the commission. Yeah, sure. So we'll go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will talk fashion a little bit. We will talk about Fashion Weekend Gambia. I believe they're celebrating 10 years of existence, which is good. So we'll be joined by a representative from there just to tell us for the past 10 years, how has this event been?
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using Quick Pay on the QMoney platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with QMoney by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. QMoney, Sunyu Kalbe.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower, and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
I am the light goddess. Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q Power. I am QCell. I am Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
The face of Fashion Week in Gambia.
That break, that was Fashion Week in Gambia right there. I just hope I could walk that way, like walk the way those girls are walking. I'll try. So thank you so much for joining us. Lena Nyan, founder of Fashion Week in Gambia.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, as well as Pamo Duja. Thank you so much for joining us. Am I right? I said you're celebrating 10 years.
Yes.
Is that so?
That's it.
Okay, I got that right.
Yeah.
So Aliu, Fashion Week in Gambia?
Yeah, Fashion Week in Gambia. It's something that actually I've been hearing about Fashion Week in Gambia. I think if I'm right, it started some way back in 2012, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my colleagues back then at the Observer used to do a lot of stories about this Fashion Week in Gambia and all that.
Okay. So, and now they're celebrating 10 years. So one might ask, really, how has the journey been, first of all, just to lay the foundation, you know, because when I talk to models in the Gambia, they tell me Fashion Week in Gambia has given us an opportunity to actually just do what we want to do, because there's not a lot of events like this. But must have been challenging as well. How has been the journey?
But before the journey, how did the idea come about?
Okay. Okay, I get this question a lot, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, is that really how it happened? But yeah, it started off with me and a friend of mine, Fatou Drama. She wanted to launch her brand, Tara, and we were talking about making an event for her. And then as we were talking, we were like, let's make something bigger than just for one brand. Let's create something that could be a platform for more designers and really something. We just wanted to make something huge, really, and include as many people as possible. So we were like, well, you know, everywhere else they have fashion weeks and whatnot. How about we try with a weekend? So that's what we decided to do, and we got some people together that we knew. It's people like Yaos, who was one of the first young designers to she was one of the few people we actually knew of that was actually really focusing on designing and not just, you know, tailoring. So we got her involved. We got Ndeifa Sise. I remember Lamin Manga was there, and then we got Aziz Wilan, because we were like, we need someone with a great voice to do the introduction and whatnot. So there was a whole group of us that got together and discussed basically how to put this together. And then, I mean, in the end, it was, you know, everybody was involved in some way or another, and yeah, that's how it all came about, really.
So journey? How has the journey been? Like, what are some of the elements?
Well, you know, yesterday I went to the model training and I was just watching everybody, and I was just feeling really emotional, because I was like, it's been 10 years already, and it's not been easy at all. I know a lot of people just see the show and they're like, yeah, it's great, you know, and they get a perception that, you know, everything is going very well and, you know, we're making money and everything, but it's really been a really tough journey. And I'm a little bit, although I'm really grateful that we've managed to do this for 10 years, I still feel a little bit, I don't know, I feel a little, I wouldn't say disappointed, but I'm feeling a little bit sad that we haven't gone further in terms of, as a nation, how we could push fashion. You know, fashion is a multi-million industry, and I just feel that we still haven't reached a point where we appreciate fashion for what it is and what it can actually do for a country. And I still feel a little bit that we're also still looking for our identity to say this is Gambian. you know, in terms of using, this year the theme is sustainability. So, you know, in terms of using our own materials and creating our own things, reusing stuff, using natural dyes, and just, you know, and also looking back at history, what has been used before, you know, traditional type of materials, how we used to dress back in the day, how to use that and make something that could still be modern out of it. So, yeah, so I'm happy, but I'm feeling a little bit sad at the same time.
Okay.
But the journey has been great. Apart from that, you know, like you're saying, a lot of models are still, you know, appreciating the platform because it is one of the few platforms that we have, not only for our models but also for the designers, and for the creative industry at large, I would say. So, you know, I'm very thankful for that, but I hope that. You know, things will get easier as we keep on going. Yeah.
So which means you're not stopping at all. You're moving. And I love the consistency of the event. It's really consistent. In the Gambia here, we see people come up with a lot of events and really the consistency is not there. But what kept you going? What's that particular element that really told you you should not stop? Because I know there was that point in time, no matter what, you felt like, hey, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah, I'm still feeling I'm still wondering. I'm like 10 years, it's time to stop now. But I think after the first year, we made a huge loss the first year, and we were like, oh, how are we even gonna get out of this?
Yeah.
But that's what made us push, because we're like, okay, now we have things to pay back, we got to do another one. And that's how we kept it going. And after that I was like, we still got to do another one.
Wow.
And then I think also with seeing you know, seeing a lot of new designers coming up and people getting inspired by what they saw, I think that just made us feel like we need to
continue.
And we need to get it better. And I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I've just not been satisfied with any of the shows yet. So I'm still like, okay, how about this time? Will it get better, you know? And yeah, same thing. It's really difficult because, you know, we're struggling to find the right equipment for the show. There's a lot of stage material, but maybe not what's needed for a runway. You know, and in terms of, we don't have fashion schools and modeling schools and all these things. So I think we still, you know, we're still working towards something and we're still improving, and I think that's what keeps us going, because we just want to get better.
Ali, I think we're a bit biased focusing on
I was coming to Paja actually. In the sense that the perception when you talk about modeling, I mean, fashion design, for us the gents, we believe it's just for the opposite gender. Do you think that mindset is changing now?
Well, yeah, I think it's changing now, because it's not all about the ladies, you know. The guys too needs to be, you know, have to look good, and then, you know, being into the fashion industry, you know, you need to look good and then, you know, feel good, you know, wear the Gambian brand, you know, because Gambians are doing great now. It's not only our neighboring country, which is Senegal. I think Gambians are here, they're doing great, especially the young designers now. So I think, yeah, we just need to, and we have some designs that are mainly for men. Designer like SND, he's mainly for male outfits. So yeah, I think it's changing now.
And you said something that really caught my attention, that the Gambia is yet to realize how much money is involved in fashion. Because look at the likes of David Beckham, look at, you know, footballers, media personalities. At some point, your life is all about fashion, because people use you to sell their brands and all of that. And I think we are really yet to realize that even to become a brand ambassador in the Gambia is a problem, because people are even yet to understand that. But I just want to know if Fashion Week in Gambia has strong collaborations with international partners. Does that exist?
Well,
okay, is that your question, Lena?
Well, this is something that we've been working on, and it's been kind of on and off. There was a time some years ago when we were working together with Africa Fashion Week in London. So we were one of their, what should I say, agents or whatnot, to find designers here and to work with them. So we did end up going there. We had a couple of our designers that went. I wouldn't really take credit to say that it was Fashion Weekend that brought them there, but we just created the connection, basically. We've also been at Dakar Fashion Week. We've been in touch with Adam Apari, and we were hoping that this year we would do some type of collaboration together. And however, that unfortunately that did not happen this time. But we also have, in terms of like media and whatnot, we have a lot of connects in Ghana and Senegal, Bissau, different places. So these are things that we're working on. And I think, especially this year, we were discussing how to make sure that we reach out to other fashion weeks, just like how they do it elsewhere in the world. They connect to make sure that it's not clashing, and there's kind of a, there's a system in place to say that, okay, if this week you're going to Gambia, then by next week...
This year it's so clashing this year.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately.
Because the Dakar Fashion Week is happening the same
around
time.
the same
right now it's happening this weekend.
Yeah, but we have, for example, we had Bissau Fashion Week that was last week. So that, if you go into one, you can just continue to the next one, and it kind of, it helps to create that kind
and
of
also, Lena, I want to know your relationship with the National Center for Arts and Culture, because at the end of the day, it's the body in the Gambia that is meant to promote these things, government body. So what is your relationship with them? You talked about how challenging organizing this is.
And
so
even the last of fashion school. I was going to engage power on that aspect. Whose responsibility is it to have these fashion schools in place?
But the NCAC, I just want to know how supportive they are, because they're really, when it comes to music, art, all of these things, they're supposed to be there.
Put me on the spot here. I think the first few years when we were doing an event, we were reaching out to them for support, and I can just say that nothing has really...
For the entire 10 years, they've never had a partnership with Fashion Week in Gambia?
I believe it was maybe the first or second year they came on board, and they supported us in terms of making sure that they facilitated the import of equipment, I believe it was. But yeah, quite frankly, we have not really had a very strong relationship with them.
I know they are watching. Hassim, what message do you have for them?
Hassim is quite supportive, to be honest.
Hassim is very supportive.
But is it directly Hassim's responsibility when it comes to this area? That's the big question,
Yeah, to be quite frank, I don't know. But I just feel in general from not just from the NCAC, I wouldn't say, but because I guess it's also our responsibility to reach out to them, which we haven't been very good at either, which we perhaps should look into. But in general, I think that from the government side, I feel that they should know about us by now, what we've been doing. And I do feel that there is a lack of support. Not just for us as an event, I would say, but in general with
for the fashion industry.
Yeah, I know they've been trying to do a few things here and there, but you know, and I wouldn't even say the fashion industry. I say the creative industry at large. We do not have like any creative schools, and I think it's not just to have individual schools for that, but just from the beginning, when you go to primary school, it should be encouraged to do fashion, to do art, to do music. You know, these are ways that we can express ourselves. And I feel that also with Gambia, we have a lot of trauma to deal with. If you allow the children to express themselves creatively, you know, that's a way of healing as well.
It is a way of healing.
So it's more like trying to say we should have this as part of our curriculum.
It should be integrated.
I definitely feel.
Even if it's not a specific school of its own, but just, you know,
just part of the curriculum. I mean, when I went to school, that's what we did, and I think that way you can also find, you know, if you are a person that loves to read or do science or whatever it is that you're interested in, or maybe you're just really good at music or drawing. But I feel like we are not encouraging the creative field as, you know.
So Pa Modu, finally, I think time is up. So just tell us what's happening. 10 years. Give us an update on the event generally.
Yeah, what's happening this year? It's the show is going to be happening on the 17th, which is on Friday. It's
17 and 18
of December.
Yes,
this
so this
weekend. So on Friday it's going to be Ada and Chosan. It's going to be kind of sort of a pre-book dinner. It's going to be at Tamala, and then on Saturday it's the same venue, Tamala. So we're having 10 designers showcasing on Saturday and Friday.
Amazing.
So far, how is the preparation?
Yeah, so far so good. It's going fine now. The tickets are going, so we have the ticket sales on Vidas. And Fashion Weekend Gambia as well. You can reach out to...
you can reach out to us on our social media platforms, Fashion Week in Gambia. And today and tomorrow we're having a pop-up market at Smile Lounge by Senegambia. So with a few vendors there, some of our previous designers. So people should come out and support. And make sure you get your tickets for Friday and Saturday.
Okay, so people like who have never been to
Anyway, just quickly, I just want to know, time is up already. What is the difference between previous fashion weekends and this specific one? It's been 10 years already. What is special about it?
Okay, well, it's special because it's 10 years, first of all.
Yes, putting that aside.
But like Faja was saying, we're doing a dinner on Friday. So it's pre-booked tickets only, and please show up early because we want to do the dinner before the event. And it's all about Gambia. So we're having traditional food, traditional music, traditional clothing. It's going to be a whole experience.
Okay, kon Aliou yow pol nga bo waré dem lo wara sol yow caaya nga sol dalan do sa caaya sa bahana. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you good luck. And just to say, we really appreciate your consistency. Don't stop. Like you mentioned, even now you're asking yourself if you're doing the right thing, but you are. You know, we're all there sometimes. You know,
and we're not only having designers in Gambia, but we're having international designers coming as well.
For this event.
From
Amazing.
Senegal, Guinea-Bissau.
Amazing. All right. So good luck.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining us. So viewers, I'm afraid that is all we have time for. One Stop Water Solution. Aliou?
Yeah.
For all your water filters.
They are located at Sukuta
Jabang Highway. For all your water filters, for all your dispensers, for all your tanks, just head right on to Sukuta Highway right there. You deserve quality water. Water is a fundamental human right, so why not just stop by One Stop Water Solution and just window shop or shop. Till we come your way tomorrow with an exciting program. Bye for now.
Mbadingolu ji senango mu fennati me yalonko akumayata hadamadingola baluwo kono woto nga fale ko One Stop Solution ye ku kumayar mbale natale pour ka ji senango soto e ka foyla bagasol milie ko RO system andu nying isa soto no 10-inch PP sediment filter e ka fumi go fanan 10-inch GAC carbon filter 10-inch ECTO carbon filter dispensal fanan bijela pour jiolu ECTO carbon filter aning ajamalu nyin dispensalu ise ji kando fintindino ji sumuyarengo anin jome yalonko abe temale aman sumuya aman kande ye RO system ol fanan sotale 20-inch PP sediment filter 20-inch GAC carbon filter, 20-inch ECTO carbon filter, Alta One Stop Water Solutions jibe sign, Ibalie Independent Stadium Moto, Eka Fomi Eko Trade Fair, Ise Kumandino 355-1304, Niwonten 796-8272, One Stop Water Solution Limited, clean water, source of